You know what this is? It's not a movement, it's the only thing moving, huh? Dig that? Okay, oh yes, the war is coming. The gap keep growing with the wealthy and the slumming. So I use my mental riches for digits to keep them running till my chips come around. Yo, like a Funyun, bite down, get a taste of that Midwest flavor. While I'm at it, let Mr. Rogers just shout out to my neighbors. I ain't mention the journal when I say wake up, get paper. Not talking about Kobe when they mention a great lake.
All right, bro, well, let's go ahead and get started then. I don't want to waste your whole evening. But ladies and gentlemen, we bite with another episode of Unlabeled the podcast. This is a very special episode today. I'm your illustrious host, Jerome Williams. So this is what I would like to call a debate, the great debaters, a debate rehash. We want to talk about last night's presidential debate. So we coming to y'all on this. We here on this Wednesday evening, but it'll be Thursday by the time y'all hear this. To kind of go over what we saw last night, and you know, what was it in the vein of what we wanted to hear. But before we get to that, I just like to say, oh, you know what? Hold on a second. Before we get to even all of that, I got my good brother Kendall Washington in the building. How you feeling, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you back. We got 1/4 of the team here. Well, 2/4 of the teams. 2/4 of the team here. We also got my brother Blaze in the building. Blaze, you can unmute yourself. He on location, so we're gonna work through all the technical difficulties and the buffering and all that shit. Come on. But how you doing? How you doing this evening? What'd you say, bro? Oh, I think he buffering again.
Education.
Blaze, your signal, brother. But go ahead. What you say now?
What up? I ain't saying nothing. What up?
Oh, okay. What up? Okay, so brother Blaze is here with us. We're gonna have to see how his satellite image holds up. But
Turkey. He in Turkey right now.
Right. He in Turkey. But anyway, as most of y'all might have known, good brother James Earl Jones done passed away. Voice of Darth Vader, voice of Disney's Mufasa. Better, you know, one of my favorite roles he played is Meteor Man as the peeping, the nosy neighbor. Also, you know, he played in Fences, the original Broadway production of Fences. He had a long list of Hollywood movies, man. He was a great in my eyes, you know what I mean, as far as his contributions to art and film. Kendall, I don't know if you had any thoughts on James Earl Jones, man, but he was a vast majority of my childhood and young adult life. So it was tragic to hear that he passed away. How was he? 93 or 83?
I think it was 93.
93, yeah. So he lived a long story life. So it's a lot better than hearing these young brothers, these young celebrities that we know dying at 50 and 30 and whatnot. So he had a long story life, but like I said, he was definitely one of our greats, you know, as far as artists concerned. Now, I don't get all into the personal business and all that because I've heard some derogatory things and other creators are starting to do it, but it's too soon for that to me. So I just want to celebrate his positive contributions, you know what I'm saying, to life. So, you know, but yeah, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. And Kendall, you know, if you got anything else to say, bro, you can add to that as well.
No, that was perfectly said. Yeah, but he was 93.
93. Long story life, man. So rest in peace, James Earl Jones. We also lost another one today, Frankie Beverly from the famous group Frankie Beverly and Maze. That was also long story life, you know what I mean. Great music. I wasn't too familiar with the catalog. I know the one song that everybody do the electric slide to, but you know what I'm saying. I can't sit up here in front like I know their whole catalog. So my family was an Isley family. I don't know if Frankie Beverly was really in the mix like that at them old barbecues. So you know, but also rest in peace to Frankie Beverly. I don't know if you had anything.
And Fat Man Scoop.
And Fat Man Scoop, yeah, that's right. We did lose Fat Man Scoop as well since we been here. Now that was my guy. That was definitely sad to hear. I heard it was a little bit of controversy around that way. Like it was some footage floating around the internet of his past and whatnot. I don't do all that digging. I hate the constant news cycle of the internet and the way we expect stuff to be, immediate. You know what I mean? We can't even live with it and celebrate these people because y'all be trying to kill people ASAP and do the whole eulogy and all that shit. So. Very unfortunate though. But also rest in peace, Fat Man Scoop. Now, what I did want to get into, very, very, very first pressing issue that I want to get into, because I wanted your thoughts on this, Kendall, as well. But Tyreek Hill, we just did a podcast Sunday talking about Tyreek Hill in his arrest, and Kendall, I wanted to ask you your optics on that, because more has arose since our initial report. Apparently, he was driving 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Police pulled him over. When he pulled him over, he rolled his window back up, and that charged the cops with using quote unquote excessive force. Kendall, I want to ask you how you felt about it initially before you seen the body cam footage and after. Like, do you think the situation was handled properly? What would you recommend to anybody who's seen that footage and might have felt a certain way when they watched that footage?
Well, I mean, I pretty much feel the same way, like before and after I saw the footage. I mean, well, before and after I got the information that came out about the video, in reference to him, like keeping the window rolled up and, basically not quote unquote cooperating. But I just, again, like there was no reason to just like be snatching him out of the car and doing all that extra shit, putting your knee in his back. Like it's already three of y'all. He really not gonna overpower you in any way. I mean, you can put the cuffs on him and all that shit because he wasn't, listening to your commands or whatever. But I understand the whole, he could have acted a certain way. I agree with that, but at the same time, it's not called for anything like that. Like you don't have to do all that shit to get him. You could have just opened the door, pulled him out. You know what I'm saying? You had to do all that shit and then just, put the cuffs on him. You didn't have to do all the extra shit. But I just think that the police in a lot of ways are trained to just react that way with certain demographics. Because I don't, I'm not trying to bring nobody up specifically, but I don't think Tom Brady will get handled like that. I don't, even if they, if he was drunk and said, shut the fuck up and, get the hell away from me, all of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think that they would treat him the same way. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. But I don't knock people who feel like he could have handled it a different way. I understand that, he's a quote unquote role model and he has to think about what the kids think. But for me, it's just he's a grown man and he's entitled to feel how he feels. He could have handled it a different way, but he handled it the way he did. And I just don't think the police needed to react in that way. You know what I'm saying? I just think there's other ways that you could do that shit. But I don't knock people who feel otherwise.
Yeah. One thing I will say is I believe everything that you said is 100% on point. You know what I'm saying? I think this is why we as African Americans should definitely fight for equal protection under the law. I know in a perfect environment, what we will want is for Tyreek Hill to be treated just like any other person we've seen act hostile, quote unquote, towards the police. It's a lot of video footage out there of Anglos being dismissive and disruptive to the police and interrupting investigations and all that type of stuff. And nothing typically happens to them. So, it would be nice if we saw the same thing happen to Tyreek Hill. But we do know that there are implicit biases in this country, and blacks aren't treated like everyday citizens. You know what I mean? So with the Tyreek Hill situation, we saw him get treated like an African American typically gets treated when he's stopped by the police officer, famous or not. You know what I mean?
He got treated like a regular nigga.
Yeah, he got treated like a regular nigga, like to Blaze's point. And it's extremely unfortunate. Now, I will say, having a son and the talks that I would like to have with him in the future and everything like that, Tyreek did not handle that situation like I was advised to handle that situation. I'm pretty sure your mama had that conversation with you as well, Kendall, about the ways to handle police when they pull you over or prior to them apprehending you. Am I wrong in this assessment? You on mute, bro?
Honestly, I don't even remember my mom talking to me about how to handle police, to be honest with you. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but
Yeah,
I don't even remember or recall that. I just
yeah.
think I learned it from just,
Observations in the community.
observation. Like,
Yeah,
I literally had friends who were beat up by police, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was just, my reaction towards it when I started getting pulled over and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't remember that being like a prevalent conversation, you know what I'm saying? Like where that was taking place like that. But I just don't necessarily remember it myself.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't remember my mom never had that conversation with me as well. But it's a typical conversation that we have in our community, or
For sure.
or you know what I mean. So it was stuff I knew before. Hey, if police ever pull you over, you better keep your hands on the wheel. You better not reach for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's been indoctrinated through propaganda, through television, and just conversations we had in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely wouldn't have recommended Tyreek acting the way he did. But when we've heard other celebrities talk about racism don't exist in a environment. Once you start making over a certain amount of money, we've heard Lil Wayne say it. Racism don't exist to him. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's unfortunate, but this is why history and knowing what happened in the past. Police brutality and all that type of stuff is important. You know what I mean? Because it stops you from acting a fool, and because these people ain't gonna see you like normal people. I mean, if I go back to let's go back to when Irish people first came into this country, when they came over here on the boat, they came over here undercutting black folks, treating them like, hey, if black people do it for $1, do it for 50 cents. You know what I'm saying? Then they got into law enforcement and they started treating us like shit. You know what I mean? You can go back to Gangs in America. You can go all these films and all this stuff like this. These are recreation of history. So we see how other cultures come into this country and treat black Americans. You know what I mean? So clearly these cops. The reason I'm saying that is because these cops were Cubans or at least Mexicans, one of the two. They were Hispanic in nature, and so they already have an optics on how to engage us from a law enforcement perspective. So you got to kind of be aware of that as well. Like it's not. It's just the reality of the situation. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying the cops were right or anything like that. But it's just the reality. Like these biases exist. You know what I mean? So just something to be aware of. Like y'all young kids out there, don't react like we saw Tyreek Hill act. Because I would say from my optics that he was in the wrong, and two wrongs definitely don't make it right. You know what I mean? So. It's very,
Yeah, I mean,
very unfortunate.
I don't think kids like really would even think to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they already inherently know what'll happen. I mean, Sonia Massey just got shot for turning off a pot of water. So like, it's not anything that black people don't already know. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I know they're gonna loop him into some sort of role model, and all of a sudden, well, the kids might do what you did. Like, get the hell out of here. Any kid that's black knows for sure if I do some stupid shit like that, I'm gonna have way more problems than Tyreek Hill will, because they at the end of the day knew that he was something, and they probably did know that he was a football player, especially after, he didn't explain it that way, but they knew damn well this man wasn't just some regular guy, but
Right.
which is why they was getting amped in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think black kids gonna even do nothing like this anyway, because they already know what it is.
Yeah, I did talk to two sheriffs out of Milwaukee, friends of the show. Once I saw this, I want to get their perspective on it. And what they said is you definitely cannot roll up the window on a cop like that, especially with the windows being as dark as Tyreek Hill's windows were. They could have thought he was up to something. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a no-no when it comes to a traffic stop. So I definitely wouldn't suggest that if you want to just stay out of harm's way or just don't want to escalate anybody. You know what I mean? Like I said, everybody you can handle stuff the way you want to, but you also will have to suffer the consequences. And like I said, you never know what kind of mindset officer is going to be in when they pull you over or whatever. You know what I mean? But like they did inform me that the cops being overly hostile and putting his knee in his back and all that stuff was definitely wrong. So the cops' actions were wrong, but Tyreek was wrong as well. So just a little bit on that, because I did talk to two law enforcement agencies after seeing the Tyreek Hill incident. So. But yeah, moving right along. Last night's debate, Kendall. I know you probably itching to get into that, but last night debates. Kamala Harris finally debated former President Donald Trump, and I'll let you go, bro. You can just kind of tell me what your optics was from the jump, because I didn't see the very beginning. I think when I joined, it was probably 15 minutes into it, so I caught it from about 15 minutes on into the end. So I want to know what your thoughts were, bro, initially.
Well, initially, I just thought, I thought that Kamala might have some issue with him just because I thought maybe he was going to kind of badger more. But it didn't seem like he was really engaged to do that. I don't know if his campaign managers or something, like someone talked to him about, hey, leave that shit out of here with, if she black, leave that stuff out of here with, she's a woman, and she can't lead, because I think that's kind of some of the stuff that he would have used, and he really didn't. He really stayed away from all of that. So as a result, it kind of seemed like he sounded, real weak on major topics, like the economy, abortion, job growth. Um, Mostly what he spoke about was immigration because he was kind of comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows people are really focused on immigration right now, and mostly on the right, but also just Democrats or independents, whatever they are as well. Um, and there's he started talking about immigrants eating dogs and cats. Like he was going too far in certain cases, and I think he was lying about Roe v. Wade when he's saying everyone wanted it. Where he did look good though, where he was wise to when it was toward the end, when he was mentioning how she's currently in office and her and Biden aren't doing the things that she's talking about now, and why aren't they? And I don't necessarily think that's a great tactic, but for the average listener, they'd be like, yeah, I mean, why can't she do anything? Why can't she implement some of these things that she's saying she would do as president? Which we mostly know, vice presidents can't do that shit. But again, the average person, they look at that like, yeah, like, what's going on with her? Like, what was she doing as vice president? She wasn't doing anything. So I think, that was a good one that he brought up. Also, when he brought up her flip flopping on like fracking, because they were in Pennsylvania when they gave the speech. So I think that was, great because there's a big industrial, infrastructure out there in Pennsylvania. So when he was talking about her flip flopping on that, that was a great point. But I think as soon as Kamala had mentioned that, the people that attend his rallies leave, due to boredom, that's kind of when he just spiraled, and I think that's when she pretty much knew she had him. She was on the offense from then on. And prior to that, he was calm. He had a real calm demeanor, but he was triggered, by that stuff. So that's kind of my estimation on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, one thing that I noticed that stood out to me was, like you said, him saying, "Why wouldn't you do this stuff?" All these things that you say you do, and you're part of this administration, the Biden administration, and I don't know if Trump is aware of how great. I don't even know if the average American is aware of how great, quote unquote, the Biden administration actually did over the last 4 years. You know what I mean? They spent far less money than Trump spent, added far less billions of dollars to the national debt as Trump did.
Yeah, trillions.
Trillions. Like, you know what I mean? They've done so many initiatives to forward Black progress in this country. I would be on record damn near say that Joe Biden has done some of the most effective thing for the Black communities that as policy wise, and actually pouring money into the Black community out of any sitting president. You know what I mean? And this was all on because it's a lot of nuance to this, because a lot of people say, hey, we should hold our vote. We should, as a Black community, we should demand the Democratic Party to do things for us, and if we had an initiative going into Biden presidency. And that's how we got Kamala Harris as even the vice president, because we asked for that. When I say we, I'm talking about the black community, the celebrities, the people that lobby for Biden. They asked for this, and I'm not sure if a lot of Americans are aware of this. You know what I mean? So this is how we got Kamala Harris as the president. This is how we got black farm loans forgiven. All these different initiatives, DEI stuff, all these different initiatives to kind of bolster the black community. And I don't think a lot of people is aware of this stuff. You can go fact check. Just do a quick Google search. They have a fact sheet on the government website on things that Joe Biden has specifically done for the black community. And not only to mention, he's done a lot for the American public in general. All this other overspending, this inflation, and the reason why things are through the roof is all a direct cause of the things that Trump has done in his term as president. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if a lot of people is aware of that. So it's kind of weird to me that he kept harping on, you're the sitting president now, since Joe Biden has stepped down. Why aren't you doing these things when she's been a part of an administration that has done a lot already? You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot of things. He cut overtime benefits for workers and opposed, any effort to raise the minimum wage. He took $1 million from payday loan industry, and then he, loosened the regulations on them and dropped their court cases. Like, he was doing a lot of corrupt shit. There's a reason why him and Elon are so close now, because before he was talking about getting rid of electric cars and all that kind of stuff. Now, all of a sudden, it's all good, and that's because he's going to give Elon a position, and, once if he becomes president, I'm sure Elon will threw him some money, to take care of some of his court cases and things like that, as far as him, owing money to also some of these rallies, because that's why he's been having a lot of rallies outside, because he hasn't been paying the venues for the ones that are, for the inside, for the rallies that are indoors. And that's why he was even outside to begin with, with his, with the attempted assassination and all that kind of stuff. So, there's a lot of stuff that he as president, did that caused, a lot of the stuff that's going on now. And again, like, as far as Kamala, that's kind of what she pounced on, because, because all he was talking about was immigration. So her, on the other hand, she, from the jump, she was on it. You know what I'm saying? She walked up to him, shook his hand. She initiated the handshake. She seeked him out. You know what I'm saying? She did a very good job with abortion. When she spoke about, the women bleeding, out of their, out of parking lots, sitting in the cars. And then, when she was like, she didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like those huge things, especially for women. Like, I was at an event, you know what I'm saying? And when she was speaking about abortion, women were clapping, and it was, it was mostly black in here, but it was mixed, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, we had, other demographics in there, and or ethnicities, races, whatever you want to call it. And mostly all the women were on par with that. You know what I'm saying? So she was really taking the time, and she even paused on that situation too, and to kind of emphasize on how important that was. She also did a great job of starting off with, stopping Trump from being able to be on the offensive, when she was saying, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook where he going to, lie a whole bunch of times, speak on grievances with the name calling, and he going to keep bringing up 2020, because that he was cheated. Mm-hmm. So like, that set the tone right there, where he was on the defense right then and there. He was never on his offense. He never was really like attacking her back. He really couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, he usually would talk about, her character, like a person's character or something like that. And he really, I think he had trouble trying to do that with Kamala, because she's a woman, and he couldn't just use the average, jabs, because again, women are watching, and now you at the point where you're trying to garner everybody to vote for you. So you don't care if it's Republicans, Democrats, whatever. You trying to get anybody to vote for you at this point with this debate. Mm-hmm. So he knew that he couldn't really attack her on those subjects, because as soon as he starts talking shit about women, he already knew he was going to turn off a major voter in women in general. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and just to give y'all a little bit of facts, when I was talking about spending earlier, Trump's non-COVID, during his administration, his non-COVID spending was $4.8 trillion. His COVID plan and his COVID cares and other COVID release was $3.6 trillion. President Biden, when he came during his term, his non-COVID spending was $2.2 trillion, significant less than half of what Trump has spent for non-COVID relief and non-COVID things. And his rescue plan for COVID was $2.1 trillion. Like I said, he spent less than half during his whole entire presidency of what Trump has spent. And people wonder why the inflation is so high and why everything is so completely out of control right now. And Trump and other Republicans like to blame the Biden administration, and it's just not true. It's a complete lie. One thing I did love about the last night's debate, because I normally I don't too much care about debates. I want to see what your policies are and what you actually do when you're in a position in office. And that was why I was kind of rough on Kamala when she was running for president initially, because back in 2020, because I didn't like what she did as Attorney General in California. But now that she's been a part of the Biden administration and I've seen how she moved, I kind of give her a little leeway. Like I said, she wasn't the president, but she was a part of a great administration. And
and she has more experience than everybody.
You said again?
And she has more experience than
that part,
everybody.
yeah, that part now, 100%. And but as far as
including Barack,
right. So as far as the feeling what the ramifications of Trump's administration was, like I said, that's why everything was it was spiraling out of control. But one thing I did like about the debates last night was the moderators. I love the live fact checking. A lot of people felt like the fact checkers were a little bit more biased towards Kamala than Trump. But what they didn't realize was the fact checkers are there just to check the facts, not opinions. So when President Trump got up there and was telling blatant lies, they were checking him. And it was actually pretty hysterical to see it done live. It actually gave me a few laugh out loud moments for real, you know what I mean, to see it done live. Do you remember any parts last night where they actually checked Kamala at all?
Well, I mean, I will say this. I do think that ABC was absolutely biased.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely swayed towards Kamala way more than they did Trump. Mm-hmm. But again, it's because he's so out of control. So, like, you know, he even brought it amongst himself and he started talking about the damn cats and the dogs being eaten by immigrants. You know what I'm saying? It's like illegal. And he said illegal immigrants, and these immigrants that's going to, you know, coming up into Ohio aren't even illegal, you know what I'm saying? But anyway,
they're seeking asylum.
He was just going so far off on the deep end. So again, it's just making their job much easier, and they already can't really stand his ass. You know, nobody really likes him, like, because he's not really an establishment guy, but at the same time he is, because he'll give money to whoever as long as they capitulate to whatever he wants, or if he needs to broker some deals with them, you know, at a later time frame. So he's so easily bought and paid for. That's his major issue. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you know, he'll say no. You know what I'm saying? Like I give Trump credit in the fact that, you know, when them generals was trying to, you know, wage war on Afghanistan and other spots, he was like, no, I'm not getting into that. Of course, he was bombing the shit out of Syria, you know, and breaking records doing that shit. Like, I think it was like 400%. But there are times where he will be like, nah, you know, even General McMaster was talking about that. So I do give him credit in that respect, but he's so out of control with it. He doesn't even bring those types of things up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Those are the things that can help him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, you know, he was trying to talk about that crime shit, and then they immediately shut him down with, you know, FBI has noted several times that crime is down. And then he said migrant crime, you know, as if that was going to change something. And if it's a spike, it probably is you know what I'm saying? It ain't even really shit. You know what I'm saying? If it is some migrants that are committing crimes, because more often than not, migrant people don't, especially if they're illegal, they don't commit that many crimes because they ain't trying to get no attention brought to them.
Right.
They try to stay in the country, so they're not going to be committing with crimes in the first damn place.
Yeah,
so.
I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I live in Texas. I've known some family. I've known some people down here with illegal family members, and they fly under the radar, to Kendall's point.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want no attention brought to them, bro. Like, So, and again, I'm not saying there's definitely migrant crime. We're not stupid. I'm not saying none of that. I mean, if you really want to talk about it, you know, niggas that love Scarface, the movie, that's a real thing. When they was bringing, when Fidel Castro sent all them criminals up to Florida through the border, that was a real thing. So those things do happen. You know what I'm saying, in certain cases, but that was the most major one in a long ass time. These, it's not even really a problem. They deport the hell out of illegal immigrants all the time. It's not even a thing like that. But Trump knows he could use that because most people just, again, like you said,
it's fear mongering.
Not going to necessarily look it up, So, like you said, the fear mongering, the whole. The illegals are getting in, they're taking our jobs. South Park, they make cartoons about it. It's been going on forever. So it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I like what you said too, because like about the illegal, or the, quote unquote, what he said was illegal migrants, like the Haitians in Ohio. These are people seeking asylum from political persecution. You know what I mean, and gangs in Haiti. So they come in here seeking asylum. These aren't illegals. Like, you know what I mean. They're refugees.
And there's people in Ohio that have been saying they pretty much appreciate that they're there because they're taking some of the manufacturing jobs. They're bringing that stuff back up. Now they're working longer hours because they just happy to have a job right now and be able to make some money for their families and things like that. So now it's helping the economy and it's opening up other stores now, things like that. So it's actually assisting. And again, these aren't illegal immigrants. These are actually people that are that have documentation. So, they just have, you gotta, like I said, just, I'm not, finger wagging nobody or nothing like that, but it's just look up some of this stuff when they bring this shit up, because around the election time, like Jerome said, it's a lot of fear mongering, and Trump doesn't really have a lot to go off of anything because he doesn't really have any plans. Just like when they kind of brought it up yesterday when she was like asking him about his
9-year plan.
Yeah, and he's like, I got a concept. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, and he's like, but I'm not the
sitting president. Yeah,
right. And that's
it was
bro,
for
but you're
Obamacare.
running.
It was for
so
Obamacare.
you need to have a plan. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, it's just just pay attention to those types of things as you look at these types of debates and stuff, because a lot of it is grandstanding and things like that. But those what you watch the debates for are when they bring those things up and talk about their policy, like Kamala was saying with, I'm gonna have $25,000 for home buyers. I'm gonna have $6,000 for first time home, or maybe it's the other way around.
It was $6,000 per kid, and then
something for the small business too.
It was like $50,000 grant or something like that for small.
Something like that, yeah. So those are things. So you like, okay, when she becomes president, that's what you hold her accountable for. You bring those things up. You said in your shit that you was going in your last debate before you became president that you were going to do this for us. Why hasn't that happened yet? That's the only way Democrats pass really any damn thing, is if the people hold them accountable for the shit, so that it gets done. Otherwise, we would just say we're not going to vote for you next time, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that second term, or they're looking for that next vote so that they can continue their career. Because at the end of the day, it's a job for them. So that's what we watch those debates for. Other than that, it's just a lot of
grandstanding and lip service.
It's WWE shit.
A bunch of lies, right? And
right.
I'm with you. That's exactly what I watch these debates for. Or even when they just do like the DNC and all this type of stuff. Like, it's all a horse and pony show.
It's like a pep rally.
Yeah, it's a pep rally. I don't give a shit. What you gonna do when you get office?
It's to get people excited to go out and vote, because again, everybody in America don't vote. Right? We know that. Everybody don't get out here and be like, yeah, I'm voting. A lot of people just, I won't say a lot, but there's a demographic in America that don't vote, don't care to vote. You know what I'm saying? So that's what those DNCs, RNCs, all that kind of stuff is for, is to rally people up. That's mostly what it's for.
That part. What did you think about their foreign policy?
Well, I don't think that I think it's pretty much the same exact thing. They both said in so many words that we love Israel. So I don't think that they're really going to make much of a change. Trump is saying he would handle things differently and all that kind of stuff, and that Ukraine would have already been taken care of. We got to stop these. He's more so focused on that than he is Israel, which is actually a genocide going on, because he doesn't give a damn about Palestine. He's Israel all day. Netanyahu, who's the president of Israel, he absolutely wants Trump to be president. They definitely are cool, to an extent. So, and he also knows he can manipulate them, because again, as long as you tell Trump some shit he likes to hear, and you tell him he's a great guy with a great nice hair, some stupid shit, he'll fall hook, line, and sinker for that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Kamala, she's very similar. You saw that she didn't really go too far off on the deep end. She absolutely continued with, we just need to talk. We need to have conversation, blah, blah, blah. But we're here for Israel, blah, blah, blah. Like they're not going to waver from that. And then, I don't think that, I'm just glad that they're not necessarily talking about war on both ends, but we always know, America's involved in something. So I'm just hoping that, they kind of sway away from that and just focus on infrastructure in the country. But we know, there's just always a lot of money in military and war. So, it's always bound to possibly us be involved in something.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about their closing remarks? Because I'm totally with you on the foreign policy thing, so I don't even have anything else to add to that. Because like I said, they both were very weak on it. And like I said, we know from historically that America is Israel's bitch, as we like to say jokingly. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I just want to know what you thought about their closing remarks.
I want to say since they've been our allies, we probably donated over $300 billion to them.
Crazy, absolutely,
like literally. So as far as their closing remarks, it was getting kind of loud in the establishment that I was in, so I really couldn't hear too much of it. But I just think that Kamala really closed the right way. Both of them, second half of the debate, it was kind of weak because again, they pretty much was talking about foreign policy, and that's why they waited to talk about that shit last, because they really don't. They're both pretty much aligned on the same damn thing. But I do think that she did a great job of closing and focusing on, again, she was actually talking about the issues that were going on and then always bringing up the past and not focusing on the now. Just like when he was bringing up Joe Biden, she was like, okay, but you're not debating Joe Biden, you debating me. She kept taking the power away from him. You know what I'm saying? So I just think the entire debate per se, and then her closing was her hook, line, and sinker for the most part. It was just the second half of the debate was weak just because of the foreign policy shit. But she did a great job with that as well. And I was very impressed. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't expect Kamala to be as succinct as she was. She definitely got some great help in terms of, I'm just talking about her team, things like that. She did a real good job of keeping the debate on her end.
Yeah.
And keeping control of it.
I like that as well. I thought she was very, very in control of. Like I said, I didn't see the first 15 minutes. I heard she kind of started off kind of weak. It seemed like she was nervous a little bit, but by the time I watched it seemed like she was on the roll. And I just knew intellectually that she would kind of best him. You know what I mean? I was more so interested to hear about the policies and legislation and things that she proposed. And I like one thing that I really, really liked is that she kept she tried to keep the conversation moving forward and not hanging on old shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which Trump, he literally kept trying to go bring it back into let's just kind of argue about mess and nonsense. You know what I mean?
Right. January 6th and all that.
Right. So that, it was very,
and she stayed on top of it with policy. She actually talked about policy. She talked about a plan. You know what I'm saying? That's what she, stayed on. Was I have a plan. Because people, and somehow some people still didn't somehow hear what her plans were. But again, that's just people that don't want to hear what she has to say.
Right.
And those are the people that, women shouldn't lead. And, there's a collection of people. I ain't saying it's just that, but it's just, just baseless shit. And again, she has probably the most experience from pretty much any of these, probably last few presidents. You know what I'm saying? From her being a attorney general to a senator to a DA, you know what I'm saying, to a vice president. What else experience? What else do you need? You know what I'm saying? Obama was a senator for 4 years. I don't even think he was that long. So
she checking the boxes.
Yeah. So, and he shot up, and again, and nothing against him. I'm just saying, she got more experience than him. She got more experience than Bill Clinton. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think that, we just, see what she does with it. And I think Trump did a good job to an extent with his closing, again, with bringing up, what the hell have they done in these last 3.5 years? Again, from the general person that just doesn't really know what Joe Biden did or what Kamala did as president and vice president, that sounds good. You know what I'm saying? Because again, shit is still high right now. So they just think shit is fucked up. They're not necessarily looking at some of the policies and things like that. like for me, a beneficiary with the student loan program. I'm always appreciative of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's other things that but I'm just talking about what I've experienced directly.
Yeah,
Something.
explain that because a lot of, I mean, if you feel like it, if you want to be that
Sure.
transparent, because
Yeah.
because I know a lot of listeners don't know, you know what I'm saying, they probably never heard, you speak about it before. I know personally, but I know our listeners haven't.
Yeah. So I'm actually a beneficiary of the student loan forgiveness program. I had all paid my on my loans, so that's the reason why I was actually what's the word applicable for it. So basically, it's called the Plan, Save Plan. I think it is. Basically, if you've been paying on your loans after a certain amount of time, you're eligible. Eligible. That's the word I was looking for this Save program where they just forgive the loans totally. And that's basically what they did for me on the second half. And then there was the first half that I had with a specific institution that I was at. And there was some things, some shady stuff, not necessarily directly with me that was going on, but just with the school in general. And as a result, I applied for that and they wiped all those loans. So I probably had over 60,000, I would say, were around there in total loans forgiven. You know what I'm saying? So that helped me, really take a lot of debt away from me that I no longer had, and then also gave me an opportunity to be able to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? So it's automatically going to help the economy, things like that. And there's other people that could benefit from that. Of course, the Supreme Court shut it the fuck down. The ones that Donald Trump appointed.
Right.
But it's a help. It's an assist. It can help the economy at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Versus hurt it in the long run. So yeah, I'm just appreciative of it. I definitely wasn't necessarily a Joe Biden fan. I don't even think I voted for him in 2020.
Neither one of us were Joe Biden fans.
I'm very honest. You know what I'm saying? Like if I don't like what you're talking about, and I also don't, Joe Biden's history as senator and also him in Congress and things like that. There's just a lot of things that I just didn't agree with. So I just, I wasn't necessarily popular with him, but he came in and did a lot. He did a 180 of what the things that I thought, you know what I'm saying, that he was going to do. So again, I just give credit where credit is due. I don't have it's not a personal thing for me. I can't necessarily say I'm a Democrat or a Republican. I lean more towards Democratic just because they kind of, speak to some of the things that I need done. But it's just, I'm not necessarily a party person. So if you do some great work, I'm going to acknowledge it. So yeah.
And I'm in the same vein. I never had intellectualized like what I actually was, and then one of my friends pointed out, I look at you more like a centrist, and I'm like, damn. I was like, you know what, you might be right, because I can acknowledge when, like you said, when it's something positive done on the Republican side or conservative side, and vice versa with the Democrats. You know what I mean, or the what do they call liberal side? You know what I mean? So but yeah, I just want to have that conversation with you, brother, because I know you had, we all have strong opinions about these things. Like, we love this country, we want the best things to happen, and we actually pay attention, unlike the average American, because there's a lot of influence out here, man. They talking this nonsense, like, what does the Democratic Party did for you as a Black American? And I'm like, y'all not paying attention to what the Biden administration did? I hated this motherfucker in 2020, but literally what he's done in the 4 years the president has progressed us leaps and bounds, even with the conservatives that Trump has appointed trying to stop a lot of this legislation and litigation. They had the black farm loans tied up in litigation for 3 years. You know what I mean? The student loan shit tied up for 3 years. You just got that shit happen this year. You know what I mean?
Even when it was so it happened once in 2022 and then another time in just this year, recently.
Yeah.
But even with the student loan forgiveness program, when the Supreme Court shut it down, he was still forgiving loans. He didn't even care. They had to put a date on it because he was still pushing them through. Because I still apply. You know what I'm saying? I was telling other people, I'm like, just apply anyway. I applied for the Save Plan after the fact. You know what I'm saying? And I still got approved for it. So yeah, he was still approving stuff, bro. Like, my stuff was going through processing. You know what I'm saying? But he was still approving stuff even after the fact when the Supreme Court was shutting it down. Of course, it's totally gone now. But they're trying to bring it back. You know what I'm saying? If Kamala comes back, I'm sure she's going to try to figure out a way to do it.
And like I said,
or figure out another way to forgive loans from a different, subset. You know what I'm saying? Or some sort of clause or something that they can put in to forgive these loans over here, that kind of shit. So
yeah, and I know a lot of people feel like, hey, one of the other days, I still might feel a little disenfranchised. If you ain't black or white, you might feel a little disenfranchised by each opponent. But one thing I like to point out is, man, like one thing that's done for Black Americans, it's going to help all of America. Like the moment you help the least of us, the better it's going to bolster all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why people feel like this way, feel so strongly about this. A lot of policies that come into play benefit everybody but Black Americans. So at the end of the day, when we got a president actually doing something to benefit our community, it actually bolsters all of America. You know what I mean? Somebody's gonna benefit from this. The moment President Biden had the initiative to forgive loans for Black Americans, it went into litigation. They tried to use the Civil Rights Act. Was it 1867? They tried to use that Civil Rights Act to shoot it down, saying it was unconstitutional. If you got to do it for one American, you got to do it for all of us. And immediately, white farmers got their loans forgiven. You know what I mean? So these type of things that happen is going to benefit somebody else in the long run anyway. Because it's always going to be somebody that offers pushback. Just like we talked about the Freedom Fund out of Atlanta. It was a group of Black entrepreneurs, they're venture capitalists that raised funds. They were getting money from Microsoft and all these other big corporations to donate to Black-owned women entrepreneurs, and it got shot down by a Trump appointee. Like, you know what I mean? It got tied up in litigation, and y'all can look that up as well. We reported on that before in this podcast. I like to bring up these moments because these are things that he's done specifically as president to benefit us in our community, and it's all been tied up in litigation by conservatives. You know what I mean? So, and specifically Trump appointees, you know what I mean, or people who were part of his administration in the past. So, but yeah, man, like it's unfortunate, but like I said, if y'all paying attention to what's been going on with Biden, man, he's done a phenomenal job as a president. Something I did not see coming. I did not want to do them in office at all. I'd have took anybody. I was part of the Yang gang. Anyhow. Our last topic for the night, Kendrick Lamar, he's relentless. He wouldn't let up. Right before we got ready to press record, this man has dropped another diss track towards Aubrey Graham. The album art was hilarious to me. It was a pair of crumpled up black Air Force. I'm gonna go ahead and play this whole entire song for the pod. I'll probably talk over certain parts of it because it is a podcast. But I'm gonna go ahead and let it rock. One of these days we're gonna go to Patreon so y'all can get this podcast in every form that I mean to record it in. Because on YouTube I have to do a lot of editing so we won't get copyright strikes. So this won't be on YouTube, but it will be on the audio side. So if you want to hear this, then tune in to just click off about 48 minutes into the podcast and go listen to the audio side so you can actually hear the song. But here it is, brand new Kendrick. I don't even know the name of this track. I'm just gonna call it Black Air Forces. Oh, hold on a second. It don't want to play for me, y'all. Oh, I know why I don't want to play, because I'm on mute. I forgot I muted the track earlier. Here we go. New Kendrick, Black Air Forces. That's what I'm gonna call it until we get an official title. Hey Kendall, I just had to ask you, bro, because which Kendrick do you prefer? This smooth rapping over these smooth soul loops, or do you prefer like the hype Kendrick, the boogeyman, when he come out over them commercial high energy songs?
Well, honestly, man, like I just like how whatever he chooses to do with his voice, that I prefer it, just because he just kind of knows, like he's very I don't know, like he's like a musician with his voice. You know what I'm saying? Like he whatever the beat is, he kind of like gets right with that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't really say like which one I like more. I just think he does it perfectly with whatever he chooses, you know what I'm saying, to kind of switch his style up and shit.
Yeah. And to me, this version of Kendrick, the more the Euphoria, this joint right here, like
Meet the Grams.
Yeah, Meet the Grams. You gotta kind of be in the mood. You get to absorb this. You know
616 in LA for real.
Yeah. You got to be in the mood to absorb this. Like you can't this ain't one of them joints that's just gonna hit you right off the bat. Like, but when you sit down and really listen to what he's saying, it'd be like, like every line for line. And it took me a while as a day 3, as people like to call it, day 3 Kendrick fan. It took me a while to appreciate this version of him, but I really appreciate this version of him. This shit hard, like he ain't addressing Drake specifically, but
Right.
yet at least, but we know who he addressing. He addressing a lot of these a lot of the influencers and stuff who got things to say. Like a lot of people were mad about, which I didn't quite understand. A lot of people were really mad about him performing at the Super Bowl versus Wayne. I didn't really understand the outrage of that. Did you understand the outrage of that?
Well,
Or do you think it was fair?
I mean, I get. Well, okay. Well, I'll say this. Like, I get the like, why isn't it Wayne part? Because again, he is from New Orleans. So I understand it. But we have to again remember, like, before Jay-Z with the "we're past kneeling" bullshit, there really wasn't like hip hop acts. You know what I'm saying? In the Super Bowl. So, I think they've been in New Orleans like 11 times or something like that, and I can't, recall a rap artist. I mean, I'll have to look through the list to see, but I think the last time they were in New Orleans, was it Rihanna? Or I could be wrong. But I'm just saying, like, rap was never like the thing. I think once Jay-Z got up in there and kind of said, "Hey, I'll help y'all change your image," because of what's going on with the kneeling and stuff with the Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying? I think that was kind of what changed it. And then Jay-Z was able to kind of put his hands around it, like, "Hey, let's get some hip hop acts up in here." So I think I think Wayne is a good, you know, piece for that, because again, it is New Orleans, so I understand that. But one, I think it's more so you're gonna probably gonna want to Kendrick, because he's got the hottest song right now that's going on, and especially from the summer. And it's still a chart topper. I would say, like, I do Uber on the side, when I just make a little extra money and stuff. And, I just play the radio just because there's plenty of stations here in Atlanta. And that shit play pretty much every hour. You know what I'm saying? Not like us. So it hasn't really died down, to a certain extent. So I just think Kendrick has the hottest song right now. He's still a huge artist. He still is an amazing performer. Again, like what we just talked about, with him, he's a musician with his voice. You know what I'm saying? He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. Like, he's a real life artist. So he's gonna put on a great show. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a great show. They don't care about nothing against Lil Wayne. I'm just saying they don't care about, hey, we in New Orleans, so we got to get a New Orleans artist. No, they just want whoever they know is going to get people to turn the TV on, because you got people that don't give a damn about the Super Bowl, but they love the halftime show. Yeah. So they want those people as well. Who's going to force them to turn that TV on when it's halftime? You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're looking for, and that's why they pick Kendrick Lamar. He's still the hottest guy, and they're aware. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. Drake is the biggest artist, so they know that there's some stuff going on with that, and they know that song is hot. So yeah, they're gonna pick him.
And people are disrespecting Kendrick is still what we consider part of the big three. I'm pretty sure that has shifted. I'm pretty sure he's pretty much number 1 or 2. Interverse with Drake at this point, because J. Cole and the way to battle and all that type of shit. But he's the hottest. Had the best year in hip hop in years. Like, nobody was paying that much attention to hip hop, bro. Like, before, and if you go 3-4 years back, it was Lil Baby, Future, Moneybagg Yo. Didn't nobody give a shit about Drake. Of course, Drake was always at the top, but you know what I'm saying, as far as like hip hop is concerned. Now we got a real artist who really raps on top. And I'm just gonna come out and say it, man. Lil Wayne is a horrible performer. Horrible. Like, he's not, don't nobody want to see dude perform? You know what I'm saying? At least I don't. I don't give a shit about seeing Lil Wayne perform at this point.
Well, I won't say horrible. Like, I do got you. Like, when he's high out of his mind, or there's times where he can't remember songs, and but like, he was at Rolling Loud, I think a couple years back, or maybe last year, and he did a pretty good job there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying a horrible performer, but I agree with you in terms of when he's not really into it. Like, we saw the WWE one, said there's something out here where Wayne looked like he was not ready or didn't give a damn, you know what I'm saying? But I think he was still, I think in the Super Bowl context, I think he will put on that performance. But I don't know if that's something that he really wants to do at this point in his career. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think Wayne is really on that. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't seem. It just seems like he just wants to do it for fun here and there. But I don't think that he feels like he has anything to prove. I think he kind of feels like what he did in his run was
It's
just enough.
solidified,
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I love that about him because there's a lot of artists that, it's hard for them to, like Eminem, for example. He hasn't been able to make anything as good since the relapse. I mean, the last album was pretty good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the same type of energy. You know what I'm saying? I think Wayne has been able to kind of decompress for real and just kind of remove himself from that world. So I don't even know if he really wants to do it himself. But I think if they did offer it to him, or if, then yeah, I think he'll do an okay performance.
Yeah.
But again, you just gotta, it's just about what type of Wayne you getting. You know what I'm saying? Are you getting the one that's really trying to do this, or are you getting the one that's about to be high out of his mind and, running late? Because, there's definitely been some times where he's been late to concerts and, shit like that. So,
yeah.
So
and all that boils down to your professionalism, and people don't want to work with people who aren't professional. That's why the Fugees just had to cancel their tour, because people weren't risking buying tickets to a Fuji reunion and not knowing what state Lauryn Hill was going to be and if she was going to show up in time and whatnot. And Lil Wayne got that reputation. Like I said, me personally, I've never too much cared for his performances. And then when you look at the top artists over the last few years charting and whatever, Lil Wayne ain't nowhere on them charts. Like, you want to put white butts in seats or in front of a TV, and everybody know Kendrick right now. We see all the concerts with these white kids rapping "They Not Like Us," you know what I'm saying, whenever it come on, all that type of shit. So he's got the moment right now. To me, it would have been a disservice if they didn't have him up there. I mean, I wouldn't, tell you the truth, I wasn't even thinking about Super Bowl until they announced him, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, they cooking, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's perfect for the Super Bowl time. We talked about it last episode. My expectation, though, is to hear new music, which we already got one new track. I'm really hoping that this album drops a couple months before the Super Bowl, so we got a chance to digest it, and the set list will be a little bit updated, because at this point, I think I've seen Kendrick perform pretty much his whole entire catalog, and I don't know how he can mix it up enough to keep me intrigued. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to hear some new music before the Super Bowl. And that's just me, because I'm a pretty hardcore Kendrick fan at this point in my life, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, we'll see what happened. But let me get back to the song right quick. I guess I should have queued it up before I said that.
Get them gone, we go watch the part.
I remember when all this beef shit first started, I was like, man, this kind of feel like a reclamation of hip hop. That last verse kind of solidified that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of mental space he in as far as taking over the art form again. You know what I'm saying? Last episode we talked about Rich Homie passing away, and you know how treacherous the music business is, and it seemed like he talked about a lot of that in this song. You know what I'm saying? Even asking what Lecrae would do and saying, you know what I'm saying, no more pillow talking, starting neighborhood wars and all that type of shit. That shit kind of fire, man. Like, I dig this, because especially if you look at the state of like podcasts like No Jumper, and how these cats were breaking down the Chicago shit and LA shit and these drill rappers and whatnot, and what that led to. It led to a death of a lot of rappers. You know what I'm saying? So I think Kendrick is on point with this joint. And I can't even really call it a Drake diss, because it really don't feel like that. But he addressed.
No, I don't think it. I think it's just like a, like a general song, like just letting these niggas know y'all out here,
Oh, he was definitely throwing some
y'all Aggie, y'all making me Aggie, that type of shit. Like just some general like hip hop. Yeah. I'm that nigga. Hey, leave, stop bothering me. Y'all some little flies.
Right.
He threw that type of shit.
Yeah, he threw plenty subs at academics. That's what he was talking.
Absolutely.
That's what he was talking about in that song. A lot of subs at academic and other podcasters. Right. So yeah. But yeah, I fuck with that joint though. That shit hard though. I think it's a perfect way to kind of start with whatever he got coming. You know what I'm saying? I thought the pop-up, I thought we was gonna get a little bit of new music before, like from the pop-up that he did in LA or whatnot, but it seemed like he ready. It seemed like he exercised, he in that booth. So this is gonna be an interesting first quarter coming up here. But yeah, man, you got any closing thoughts, my brother? You on mute. He was going crazy.
I thought I hit it.
No, you good.
No, that's it, man. It was just, like I said, a good debate yesterday. And I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl.
Me too, man. Me as well. I'm looking for the Super Bowl. I wish you was in fantasy with us, bro. But that's a whole nother animal. I don't want to get you addicted
Bro,
to
you know
that
I
shit.
don't even watch football like that.
Yeah. Fantasy is just fun, bro. It ain't even you ain't got to watch it. It's just fun. Like it's just like even if we play fantasy basketball, like it's just a fun thing to do. But I ain't looking too high.
Oh no, I've played fantasy before. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I don't keep up. Like sometimes I don't be swapping the players in the right time, shit like that. And then I end up losing, and I hate losing. So.
Right, niggas too competitive. But yeah, I took my first L to Montre, so he got me the first week. Man, I got Christian McCaffrey's. He fucked me over, bro, because it was really the San Francisco 49ers. They didn't announce that he wasn't playing until the night of the damn game, and it was too late because everybody had already played, so I couldn't even swap them out. It was bad, man. But anyway, yeah, fuck the 49ers. So we'll see how it bounce back next week. But listen, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will link a new playlist into the description. I did update the one in the description from this past week because I had left the old one in there by accident. So if y'all go back and click on that, it might take y'all to a new one. But it's supposed to be, the name of the playlist is called Flux Capacitor. So you should be able to find that on my Apple Music if you follow me on Apple Music. But if not, then like I said, it'll be a new link in this one. This playlist is going to be called Practice. Picture Allen Iverson on the cover. Check that out if you like lyrics. Check this one out. But on that note, man, we can get out of here. We'll see y'all on Sunday with another episode of Unlabeled the podcast. Peace.